Let me start with a simple question. How confident are you in your qNMR numbers? NMR is often called a gold standard technique for absolute quantification, but only when it's done right. Today, we'll talk about one of the most underestimated decisions in qNMR, choosing the right internal standard. This single choice can be the difference between confident data and misleading results. Let's unpack why this matters and how to do it right. Imagine this scenario. You run a qNMR experiment. The spectrum looks clean, integrations are stable, everything appears perfect. Yet, when you calculate purity, the number just doesn't make sense. You repeat the experiment, maybe even on a different day. Same issue. The instrument is behaving, the method is correct, so where is the problem? In many cases, the silent culprit is the internal standard. A poor choice doesn't always scream error, it quietly biases your results. And that's what makes it dangerous. One of the biggest strengths of qNMR is that it's an absolute technique. Unlike chromatography, there are no response factors or calibration curves. The signal area directly reflects the number of nuclei present. That's powerful, but it comes with responsibility. Because qNMR is comparative, any error in your internal standard, its purity, mass, or behavior, transfers directly into your final number. The internal standard isn't just important, it's the backbone of the entire experiment. Think of the internal standard as an anchor holding your entire quantitative experiment in place. Everything, sample concentration, purity, and mass balance, is calculated relative to it. That means the standard must have accurately known purity, remain chemically stable, and produce clean, well-resolved signals. If it degrades, overlaps with your analyte, or behaves differently in solution, your numbers may look precise, but be fundamentally wrong. This is where theory meets reality. It's not enough for an internal standard to look good on paper. It must behave well in your actual sample solution. If your analyte is polar and your internal standard isn't, solubility differences can lead to uneven mixing. If your compound is acidic or basic, the standard must remain chemically inert under those conditions. A common mistake? Using hygroscopic standards with moisture-sensitive compounds. The error sneaks in quietly, but it's real. In qNMR, clean peaks mean reliable numbers. Overlapping peaks mean trouble. Even partial overlap, especially when line broadening or solvent peaks are involved, can distort integrations. The ideal internal standard gives sharp singlets in a quiet region of the spectrum with minimal coupling complexity. A beautiful spectrum isn't just visually pleasing, it's your quantitative insurance policy. Here's a factor that ruins many otherwise good qNMR experiments: T1 relaxation. If your analyte and internal standard have very different T1 values, and your relaxation delay is too short, one signal may be fully relaxed, while the other is partially saturated. That doesn't create noise, it creates systematic error. Best practice? Measure T1 values early and use sufficiently long relaxation delays. Ignoring relaxation is one of the fastest ways to lose quantitative credibility. In regulated or quality-critical environments, trust doesn't come from assumptions, it comes from documentation. Your internal standard should have well-documented purity, traceability to certified reference materials, and clear water content corrections. Without this, your results are built on assumptions, not measurements. And that's exactly what auditors look for. Documentation isn't paperwork, it's data integrity. People often ask, what's the best qNMR internal standard? The honest answer is, it depends. TMS works well in non-polar systems but struggles in polar solvents. Maleic acid is excellent for polar compounds but hates moisture. Dimethyl sulfone is stable but can overlap in certain regions. The right choice depends on your analyte chemistry, solvent, concentration range, and regulatory requirements. There is no one-size-fits-all answer. Experienced analysts don't guess, they verify. They test solubility first to ensure homogeneous mixing. They check peak separation under real experimental conditions, not idealized ones. And they measure T1 values early to optimize acquisition parameters. Choosing an internal standard isn't a one-time decision. It's part of method development and validation. qNMR is one of the most powerful quantitative tools available, but only when the internal standard is chosen thoughtfully. A well-selected standard transforms qNMR from just another experiment into a gold standard quantitative method. So the next time your qNMR results don't make sense, don't blame the instrument. Ask a better question. Did I choose the right internal standard?